Good evening from Swansea, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are listening to Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, your one-stop shop for professional wrestling, insight, news, and reviews on a daily basis. Joining me today for Mailbag Monday, where we answer your questions. Firstly, Chaos. How are you, Chaos?
What's up? What's up? What's up? I'm here live. Good to be here as always. Yeah, we got a lot to unpack on Mailbag Monday. Let's go and get it.
And also joining us today, we have Soul. How are you, Soul?
Hello, you two massive dafties! That's my impression of you last night. Hey, it's good to be back, do my own thing. I exist pretty much as the MVP of the Republic. I just do.
Oh gosh, we're gonna get into a lot today, guys. And like I said earlier, we're gonna be answering your questions. Earlier today, we did an Instagram post, and yeah, we've had quite a few questions coming in. A lot about Roman Reigns and who should dethrone him. So we'll probably do that weekly question later on as well. But the question we're gonna start with is the one in the thumbnail. And the big talking point, going around the Instagram wrestling community, well, the internet wrestling community as a whole this week, and that is Drew McIntyre going to AEW? And it is Mr. Nee who asks this. And basically, for those of you guys who don't know where this is all coming from, this week he blacked out his Twitter page and removed all references of WWE from the description, however, still included WWE in his username. However, if he was to change the username, then he would lose his verified tick on Instagram. Sorry, not on Instagram, on Twitter. So, I mean, perhaps that was why he didn't remove it from there. However, is it a work? Is it to do with contract negotiations? Is it a tactic to get a better contract? Is he going to AEW? A lot of the internet is speculating. I'll head to you first, Sol. What do you think's happening with Drew McIntyre?
I think it's just a Twitter bug. I think Elon's flipped the wrong switch and it's just blackened out his profile. And everyone's just going mental. It's Jesus, it's just a mistake, guys. Come on! But let's be serious about this for a moment. I would be very, very surprised if Drew leaves WWE. Very. I think he's someone who really inspired to get there. He's gotten a lot from it. He did Clash. He's basically had this championship reign, once in the pandemic era, and then another one when he beat Orton for the title. So he's had a good shot there. I mean, if it's money, then hey, money does talk at the end of the day. Money makes the world go round, any way you want to admit it. Do I think Drew should go to AEW? Absolutely not. No.
Wow.
I think Drew's entering that life in his career where he can make a difference somewhere, make a difference at home. I think Drew McIntyre or Drew Galloway should come back to ICW and build that up. ICW is, killing it right now. I've interviewed many people there, and I do love the company itself. But they need to get back to where they were running the Hydro again. And if Drew comes back, yes, it may not be, maybe it's not for the money. Maybe it's for the passion, because he did have a great time there as well. Drew Galloway back in ICW will truly be a new era for ICW. I mean, hey, who knows? Maybe he might go to Impact like Nick Aldis did on Rebellion. Who knows? But I have said about AEW, but I would like to see him at All In just to have a match, because it would be a hell of a moment.
It absolutely would, and it certainly help to sell tickets at the Wembley show that AEW are going to run in August. But I mean, to be honest with you, when you first said ICW, I was like, what? But it would be huge to them. And I mean, a lot of wrestlers, and it's a very nice thing to do, go back to where I don't know if he first started there, but he did a lot very early on in his career there. And going back to your roots at times and helping the people who helped you when you first started in the business, you're almost giving back to them in a way. And it is a great thing to do. And it's also great to get a lot of eyes on some of the new up-and-coming talent who could be the next Drew McIntyre, Drew Galloway. But for me personally, I think he's only 37 years old. So I think he's maybe got one more big contract left. Then perhaps going to an ICW or something like that, I think would be fantastic. And then maybe coming back to WWE or somewhere like that for one retirement match, or if not, retiring in ICW. But Chaos, what would you say?
I'm pretty much on board with the majority of what Sol has said in terms of his tactic on this. I think he's probably just trolling everyone. This could easily be just a way to lead into a heel turn, um, provided that he gets what he wants in terms of the contract, and rightly so. I mean, he he rode the ship, he steered the ship during the pandemic era. He won the biggest championship of his career in front of nobody. And and he hasn't really had his chance to reclaim that. Obviously, besides he was close to getting there during Clash. Um, but yeah, I honestly now going to the question if he was going to AEW, I'm with Soul as well. I wouldn't want him to be in AEW. He's so made for WWE. His style is nowhere near, like, I can't imagine it in AEW. He's not made for that. He's a sports entertainer. So he'd probably be perfect for JAS. But no, in all seriousness, yeah.
Heresy.
Say again.
Heresy. How dare you speak lies?
I'll just say this.
Also, biggest championship of his career, bro. He won the Impact Grand Slam Championship. That terrible belt that they had like knockout rules and like you had to technical wrestle, and it was
Need I say more?
I forgot all about that until you said it. So
exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Well, when it's 3 a.m. and you're up late, you get into some weird parts of wrestling history.
But yeah, no, I feel like he's got one more big contract in him. It's only right. They should do right by him. He deserves whatever money he's asking for. And yeah, I can't imagine him anywhere else. If he shows up in AEW, probably do a one-off thing, like you said, for All In. Why not do a one-off match, have a banger? But yeah, I don't want to see him there as full-time or become All Elite. It's just not his world.
if you were WWE though, Chaos, if Drew McIntyre or Drew Galloway went to AEW for just one match for Wembley Stadium and helped AEW sell, a lot of tickets at Wembley, would you actually let him back after that? For him to come straight back to the company?
No, well, knowing Vince, hell no, he wouldn't. Or if he does try and come back, he would just try and job him out, kind of thing, because and that's how petty Vince is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think he would. I think it would take a long. You wouldn't see him back for a good year or two if he ever did that. So.
No, absolutely. I mean, helping them sell Wembley, which, by the way, if they get anywhere near to selling out, that is a big. I mean, that is a big. That is a big statement, basically. I mean, obviously, WWE did not run that arena. They ran the Principality. And yes, I don't think they're going to come close to that number WWE did in the Principality, but they don't need to. If they come close to that, that is a huge statement because they've not come anywhere near close to WWE in terms of tickets at stadiums because they've not run a stadium yet.
No.
But even in a lot of arenas lately, they've not been selling as good as WWE have been. So if they manage to do that in the UK, we all know what Tony Khan's been saying about the UK. He keeps saying AEW is the biggest wrestling promotion in the UK. And for that, he's using statistics based on the fact that they're on a network, which is watched by more people and all of that. But he keeps saying that. But listen, if they not sell out Wembley, but if they come anywhere near, 15,000 near to selling it out, that would be huge. That would be an absolute game changer.
100%.
If they sell at Wembley, you ain't gonna hear me shut up about it. I will absolutely pull out the party poppers. I will get out the balloons.
Rightly so. I mean, we all know that AEW is probably the most scrutinized company from the internet community ever.
Absolutely.
And anything minor that goes wrong, people jump down their throats. If they obviously do the impossible, well, it's not even impossible. It's if the demand is there, it will even if people try and scrutinize 50,000 or whatever, they can all suck a lemon. It's still a huge success for AEW. So yeah, I have no worries about them not selling out and stuff. So
I think about it. Think about the merch. The merch when we go there, we're gonna buy all the merch.
Exactly.
I mean, Chaos has been saying he's gonna buy the replica title. He's gonna buy the world championship.
Oh wow!
My baby. There she is. Up in the cake.
It has to be done. It has to be done. That's my next big.
Drop that 800, baby. Drop that 800 because I did and I don't regret it.
Wow. Fair enough. But I think the number is over 55,000 is where they'd be happy because I think that's the lowest Wembley sold before. So I think
it's more than half.
Yeah, you don't want to be the lowest selling thing to ever take place in Wembley. That's what you don't want. And I think 55 is, I believe, that might need to be fact checked here, but that's what I heard the other day, is the lowest that it's been before. So if they get over 55,000, that is, come on, very good.
This ain't gonna be as bad as what's that thing that that failed miserably? The Authors of Pain tried to do. What was that?
Oh no!
UK rubbish that had
it ain't gonna be nowhere as that. So yeah, they're fine.
Yeah, no, absolutely do not.
I'll say one final thing on the All In situation. You know, it's got a lot of landmarks with it. You know, Wembley 100 they're celebrating, and 100 years of Warner Brothers. So a lot. It's a celebratory thing, not even for just AEW, stadium, and the company producing the television. So it's going to be a landmark event no matter what.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, is it in association with Warner Brothers at all, the event?
It's been on the posters.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it has, yeah.
Oh, wow. So it might. Oh, I mean, who knows? This is very much me inferring right now. But perhaps if that's the case, it might be, you know, on TV in the US or something. I don't know if that'll be the case or not, but
Warner needs a W because.
Oh, then again, don't they technically own BR actually? Never mind. I think they own the streaming thing that the pay-per-views are on anyway.
Max, right, and stuff like that. I mean,
apparently
they're merging with Paramount Plus. Something
yeah.
else.
The other one which they own, they own both of them. So the parent company owns Warner Brothers Discovery owns technically 2 streaming networks, and now they've combined them.
HBO Max and Plus.
That's
the one.
That's it. Yeah. So they're now combining those into one. I think it's actually already been done now. But that was a big statement in itself. But they own so much now that I'm losing track of it all. But I do agree with you guys that Drew McIntyre will be staying in WWE more than likely. But it would be interesting to see what happens elsewhere. And like you referred to, Sol, I would love to see him return to ICW before his career ends, as that would be something which would be very interesting and just a nice way to put young talent over. But up next, let's answer the next question, and the next question is by the Dan Alizationer on Instagram. Sorry if I botched that, but he is asking, what do you think WWE needs to cut down? The number of belts or the number of pay-per-views? Chaos, I'll head to you first.
The pay-per-view situation isn't as bad as it used to be. I remember there was a brief period where there was 2 pay-per-views a month.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Even during the and even sometimes they forced one just for storyline reasons. I remember the most recent one I remember was when Roman Reigns came back from SummerSlam, and then they shoved in Payback just to get the title on him 2 weeks later. So
it wasn't even 2 weeks; it was 1 week.
It was insane. It was absolutely insane. So yeah, that I do not miss. Now, in terms of the titles, I don't think that titles is not as egregious. I'm sorry, I don't think it's as egregious as the other company. I mean, they have too many. I'm just saying. I think it's a good balance. If anything, I don't think they need to really go down in either, because pay-per-views are doing it right. They're not announcing them a whole year in advance. They're doing it incrementally. And the titles, I'm fine with the titles. Yeah, it's not so bad as, unfortunately, AEW. So that's my take on that.
Not down lies.
Yeah, truthfully, I mean, to be honest, Chaos, I kind of do agree with you there. Where, I mean, I actually think I understand why AEW do it, and it works their business in terms of pay-per-views only doing 4 a year. That actually really does work for them business-wise, and they proved that. But what WWE do, they prove that works for them business-wise, and I personally do prefer it, as it quite frankly means we have more pay-per-views as fans, but they're not every other week. We get 10 a year now in WWE, because they don't seem to be every month anymore either. But yeah, I have no issue with the pay-per-view number. Now, when it comes to title belts, I mean, fully, I don't really know which ones you can get rid of. I regularly have said on the podcast that I'm not the biggest fan of mid-card titles, because I don't like titles unless they have a stipulation, but you can't really, with the history they have, you can't get rid of the Intercontinental, you can't get rid of the United States. It's not realistic. They basically, I say this, I know what they could do. They could merge the WWE and Universal into one because that's, I guess, what they could do. Although they're basically being treated as one as it is. But what about you, Saul? What are your thoughts?
Pay-per-views, I think they should do 7 a year.
Oh, okay.
The big 4, and then a couple other ones with, the Saudi shows and maybe even international shows. NXT is its own thing, and maybe every 4 months or whatever. The titles. You gotta merge the women's tag and the NXT women's tag because there is not enough women teams. I mean, even Corey Graves has buried the whole women title picture.
Yeah.
Merge those immediately, and honestly, I would be fine if they were retired because they're just there. They just exist. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're pretty belts. They are very, very pretty belts. But they're just there. I mean, you can have the prettiest belt, but when they're nothing behind it, they don't mean squat. So do that. US and Intercontinental history, and because they've just been around, keep them. That's fine. The whole Universal and WWE Championship. I feel like do whatever you want with that. Cody wants to bring back the Wing Eagle if he ever decides to wing it. Win it, and doesn't lose the throat punch by Solo. That can happen. Then bring back the big gold for SmackDown or something. The tag belts. I was debating the idea in my head, honestly, of just merging that with the NXT tag belts and having a tag team division that's just across brands, like how they did in the past. Like, the belts can be defended on Raw or SmackDown. The tag division's all thing there. Merging with NXT's one, I think that's a bit too extreme because you kind of want to showcase new tag teams. So maybe keep that. NXT keep NXT tags, and then maybe merge the tag belts. Now the women's belt. Do you think we need 2?
Yes.
Do you honestly think we need 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Really?
Especially if they keep in the rosters when they hopefully they will after. If they're gonna do them separately, keep you need to have a championship on a champion on each brand, not the same one on both.
I was thinking of this. Merge the Raw and SmackDown ones and bring out a women's Intercontinental.
Oh, okay.
So you can have the main women's belt be defended on the opposite. Well, it's weird here because do you have like a main men's on one brand and a main women's on the other, or do you have 2 main men's and 1 main women? That's a bit odd there in myself.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about this. Raw can have the main WWE Championship. SmackDown can have the main women's championship. You get the US Intercontinental. You get the tag belts on one, and you get the women's Intercontinental on another. It's a bit of a division. Raw, you're going to get the main championship, the US, and you're going to get tag teams. Mostly focused on tag teams, right? SmackDown, you get the main women who headline that show, showing the women can headline a whole show in itself and be focused around. You get the Intercontinental, which is a workhorse one, so you're going to get workhorse type matches. And then you're going to get the Women Intercontinental, which is going to show rising up women who basically are going to be like the Intercontinental workhorse men sort of thing. I mean, I think that works.
I actually really do like that idea, but the issue with it is that as fans, and in fact, as a product overall, I think that'd be a really interesting concept, quite honestly. But USA and Fox, both of them would want the world champions, the men's world championship belt and the women's world championship belt on their show. And I mean, that's originally why during the brand split. I said that was originally why. That's not originally why, because they were originally both on USA. But that is one of the reasons why they had 2 world championship belts. Now, of course, Roman being champions actually brought up a few issues from USA about him not being on there enough. But, Fox do pay more, which was there, is how WWE are basically explaining it. And that's why Roman has been on Raw a few times more in the last few months compared to the last year, where he basically only appeared on SmackDown. There as well. And I do think it's quite interesting, the point you made about the women's tag team titles, and you are right. They've just not been booked well. They've not been booked well at all. I mean, I don't think you could get rid of them purely because of bad PR.
Do you know when the last time I think they were relevant?
Yeah, go ahead.
When the Iconics hold them after Mania. I think that's the last time they were honestly relevant.
Yeah.
Besides that, meh. I mean, what was Bailey and Sasha's hug and boss connection?
Yes.
Yeah. I enjoyed that.
That was fun. Don't get me wrong, that was a good start. Big names to put it on, sort of thing.
They didn't deserve to lose at Mania, though. I don't care what anyone says.
No. That was quick. It was way too quick. Yeah. And then, but you actually had a female tag team in the Iconics, which I really enjoy. win it and hold it. But then after that, it just spiraled down into absolute insanity.
Who won it? Was it Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler afterwards?
Oh, I
Nobody
forgot
knows.
about that.
Nobody knows.
Like
It just
that.
happened.
There was
It just
some.
happened.
Yeah, I actually forgot all about that.
I mean,
Yeah.
I remember Bailey and Sasha, yeah, fucking Jesus Christ, held it during the pandemic era. Like they.
Yeah,
held
I
it.
enjoyed that. I
Oh,
did
yeah.
enjoy that. That was actually the reign when you originally said it that came to my head when they
Yeah.
held basically all the titles. Sasha and Bailey. I really enjoyed their run then. But you are right. The titles have become completely irrelevant. However, I don't think that is the fault of there being too many titles. I think it's the fault of just really bad creative and really bad booking for them. No effort is being put in. And we often on this podcast talk about, I mean, Anthony was the first one to say it. How is this the same creative team who are booking the Bloodline storyline? And that, well, I mean, the women's titles probably highlights that point more than anything else. They are booked so poorly, despite the fact they should be booked great because you have a stacked roster. I mean, people such as Tegan Knox on that roster, right? Who's phenomenal, but she's not being used. And admittedly, her return, I know she should not have returned in that way she did because nobody knew who she was. Right? I love Tegan Knox, but nobody knew who she was.
That was a sniper of a debut.
But she is a phenomenal talent, right? Minus when she came back, her third match back when she hadn't wrestled for a while, right? In general, she is a tremendous talent, and people such as her barely get any TV time. Now I'm going to be completely honest. I said this the other day. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. I actually think they are a great tag team to hold the belts, and I hope they have a good run with them because I actually think when Raquel turns on Liv eventually. It could be. I compared it on the podcast the other week, last week, to almost this generation's version of Batista versus Rey Mysterio, where you got a big man versus big woman versus a small one, and I think it could be very very fun feud. But they need to establish women's tag team.
I'm sorry. All that's coming to my head right now is Raquel holding Liv's head, just saying, "You were supposed to be my friend," and she's
yes, you know it. You know she's gonna kill her.
Oh god,
back muscles. Jesus,
I'm gonna rip your head off. Please do that exact same segment. I would love it. That would be awesome.
Chaos is like, give me the Raquel shirts. I want to pop for this.
But no, I truly do believe that they're a good tag team to hold the belts here, and I think that with the fact that Becky and Lita just held them, that brought a bit more prestige to them. So for the time being, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But Damage Control's reign, I gave them the benefit of the doubt then, and that ended up being really poor. So, I mean, I'm not too hopeful, but I guess I'm still trying to be optimistic about it. I mean, Chaos, would you just get rid of the titles or?
Would I get rid of them? Yeah, it's not done anything for because whilst he was speaking, I was just checking like all the reigns. I didn't realize it's had 19 different champions already. And I'm just like, how, when, where? but yeah, it's not doing anything for anybody. The person that I blame the most for this is simply Vince. Remember, most of this was under Vince's reign, and he hates tag teams in general. And yeah, this the treatment of this is a testament to that. And obviously, how we saw the effects of the treatment of it, thanks to Sasha Banks and Naomi walking out. So. Yeah,
God, about that.
Exactly. So just throw it in the bin. Even Triple H doesn't even know how to not even just book the tag team titles, just the women's division as a whole so far. So yeah.
Yeah. So what you're saying is Nikki Cross has to take the belts and miss the bin.
Yes, please, definitely.
Oh gosh, but let's move now on to the next question, and the next question is from Lavin X123 on Instagram, and he is asking, what teams do you see getting split up during the draft? I'm not actually sure who will be split up. I mean, the obvious one, which a lot of people are saying might happen, is the Street Profits being split up, but I really don't want that to happen because I don't think it needs to happen, because I think Montez Ford could become a star with Angelo Dawkins still in his corner. I think splitting them up would hurt Angelo Dawkins quite a bit, and he's too good of a talent to have to deal with that personally. But what about you, Chaos? Who would you split up if you were to split up? If you were to say any tag team would be split up in this draft?
I agree regarding Street Profits. I hope they don't split them up because there's no need. And again, if they do split them up, is even though Dawkins has improved over the year, over the past year. I just imagine him just getting I call it the Tucker treatment. Otis is the one that with being Montez for being Otis, and Dawkins being Tucker. Especially if Vince is having his little dibbles in creative again. The team that I think that will probably get split up simply because of the implications that's going with the upcoming pay-per-view Night of Champions, Kevin Owens and Sammy. I think they're gonna probably split.
How could you? How could you really do that to us, Chaos? Already split up friends.
Hey, let me explain. I got a feeling.
No, cut me off. You're done. You can't talk that.
No. Let me explain. So let me land first. Obviously, Night of Champions is happening in Saudi. Usually the concept of that is that every title needs to be defended.
Yeah.
Sammy and Kevin can't go there. Funny enough, Usos are facing Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, I think a week prior, for the tag team titles at SmackDown.
That's a week prior to Backlash.
Is it Backlash? Either way.
Yeah.
Still, yeah.
And also, not to jump in, but there is Sammy hinted that he is going to be there. So
I'd be very surprised if
how's that landing going, Chaos? It's more of a crash at this point. Oof, you're failing that landing.
You say that now, but I think it's going to be short lived.
One way, Jesus, I might as well get some marshmallows and just roast this fire. Jesus,
say that now.
Allison, misery. He's failing. He's choking.
No, but
carry on, Chaos.
Yeah, I feel like they're going to be the ones. I feel like the fairy tale ending, especially because the bloodline thing didn't really land as we all wanted at Mania. I feel like it's going to be short lived, and they're probably going to be the main ones to split. I can't really think of anyone else. I mean, Judgment Day is good as they are. New Day, I mean, keep them as it is. They ain't, no point in splitting them again. What other tag teams are there? The Street Profits, Alpha Academy, probably Alpha. Alpha Academy might split because Otis is going with what's the Alpha Male?
Maximum Male Models.
So that could definitely split. I can see that happening. And then Chad Gable, I think he's more than he needs to get a real singles run this time, not this Shorty G crap. Like make him have a proper run. So I think that one is definitely a good shout for Alpha Academy. Other than that, I can't think of it. Oh, maybe Ricochet and Braun Strowman, maybe even on the team. I think those are the main ones. That's my call. Ricochet and Braun Strowman, and
you just named the whole tag team division right there, my friend.
That's what you need to see me struggle.
The truth is, though, right? I'm not really a fan of tag teams being split up in the draft because I like it when a storyline is the reason they get split up, right? Now, in certain cases, it's worked in the past, right? But most of the time, I'm not really a fan of it. But what do you think about it also?
Well, I want get back here. I want to see your reactions for this. You fellas, get back. Come on. There you go. You got it. So besides this big storyline one I have for the draft, other teams I like to see breakups. Alpha Academy, I want to see Otis go with the maximum male models. Chad Gable get a single run. Another one is I want, I think Braun and Ricochet should just break up, be a big powerhouse and a flippy guy. Cool. But a storyline draft. I want you to picture this, right? It's the draft, right? The Bloodline have a segment backstage where they're just watching, like they think, we're all going to be together, we're fine and all that, right? Jey Uso to SmackDown, Jimmy Uso to Raw. The Usos have been split, and they're like, "Whoa, what's going on? Why has this happened?" And their confusion, and all we see is just Roman go, "Did you pay them?" And the wise man Paul Heyman's like, "Yeah, I paid them. I paid." Basically, Paul Heyman paid the WWE execs to have the Usos be split up. He paid for their division because they failed the tribal chief and they didn't get the tag belt. So he's just thinking, well, let these boys go out there and sink and swim on their own because apparently together they're not working. And think about that. That could be leading to some very interesting stuff.
I actually think And I'm not sure if it'll go as blunt as them finding out that Roman did pay, or at least on draft night. Maybe down the line they found out that Roman was the reason behind it. But I actually think you might be onto something there, because Paul Heyman this week on SmackDown,
Awesome segment.
yeah, I mean, what a segment. But Paul Heyman basically said, and Roman Reigns is getting very frustrated or something like that with you two, and looked at the Usos while the Usos are still looking forward. So they never saw Heyman doing that. So I think actually, Saul, you might be onto something there. I mean, Chaos, would you like to see the Usos split up, or do you think that is a bad idea?
I'm kind of conflicted on it, because on one hand, there is a bad idea, but then again, they've both proven, especially Jay, that he can go on his own. I mean, and clearly, I think they are building for Jay to face Roman at some point.
Yeah.
And and again, with I think Clark pointed out best, especially with the shirts thing. Jimmy was wearing the black one. Jay was wearing the white one. Obviously, he's going to be the face coming out of this, and God knows what's going to happen with Jimmy. So I feel like that, yeah, for storyline wise, I will give it a pass, and then somehow they reconnect later down the line. But yeah, it's yeah, for storyline purposes, I would accept it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely probably the time to do it if you are going to do it. So, I actually think if any tag team does get split up, you persuaded me. I think if any tag team gets split up in this draft, it will be the Usos. But the next question we have here is from, let me quickly find it. Here it is. It's from at this_person_actually on Instagram, who is asking, after Roman's title reign hits 1,000 days, pick 3 possible names who could take the title off him. And we've answered this question in multiple different ways before and all that. We've never given 3 names, which is why I picked this question. Now, the first name I am going to give you is probably the obvious one, and that is Cody Rhodes. We've heard Clark spoke about it the other day on the podcast about how, doing the Rocky storyline going into Philadelphia, having him have to face off the Bloodline this entire year, eventually beat them all, get rid of Solo heading into WrestleMania, and then get the one-on-one match Cody Rhodes wants with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, where he will eventually win the title. However, of course, the issue with that is the 1,000 days, not 1,000 days, the entire fact that Roman Reigns is going to have to hold it for a whole other year, which would be way past 1,000 days. It'd be 1,200 and something. But yeah, that is one possibility. So Cody Rhodes is one of my names. Second name, Braun Breaker. Now, Braun Breaker is definitely not ready to be put in that top spot. However, there is something to be said about just throwing somebody in at the deep end. And Braun Breaker is the person who I really do believe could be the next Roman Reigns, the next top guy in the company. So screw it. Maybe you do just put the title on him. I'm not sure, especially during a sale process, how likely this is going to be. However, I think it would certainly begin the process to develop Braun Strowman as a big star for the company in a big way, and I think he would have a good reign. I think even though a lot of people do think he's still green in certain areas, I feel like throw him in at the deep end and he might just deliver. My third and final name is the one which I'm kind of a little bit stuck on. In fact, maybe I would have said Jay White if he went WWE. However, of course, he did not end up going. My third and final one is actually going to be Randy Orton. Now, this is presuming Randy Orton's going to return, but we all know that Randy Orton still hasn't equaled John Cena and Ric Flair. He needs to win the title, I think, another 1 or 2 times in order to get there. And I think WWE are going to give him that accolade if he is able to return from injury. And yeah, I think Randy Orton could well be the one to actually dethrone Roman Reigns, as he's one of the only top stars who've not yet faced Roman during this historic championship reign. But what about you, Sol? Who were the 3 names you say?
I'm going to throw out some major spitballs here. First one, Seth freaking Rollins. I think Seth in Roman history, he's never really beat Seth at all. He DQ'd at the Royal Rumble. I think that'd be interesting. Next one is someone I think is really promising in NXT. The current NXT champion, Carmelo Hayes.
Oh, yes.
I think what a hell of a debut. He's just feuding with Braun at the moment, but I think a face Carmelo Hayes coming up kind of would be very historic sort of thing. And the final one is within the bloodline itself is Solo Sikoa.
Oh.
I mean, hey, he's pretty much won all of Roman's matches for him. I mean, if I was him, I'd think, why am I not champion when I'm pretty much helping you, cover your backside pretty much every time? I think Solo was just going to be like, nah, screw it. Throat punch to the face, bitch.
Now, Solo, I mean, when I got into the third one, I was stuck between Rollins and Randy Orton. I just went Randy Orton in the end. Solo was actually something I didn't even think about because I thought about it obviously in the past, but when I was thinking of that then, Solo could well be the wild card in all of this. What do you think, Chaos? What are the 3 names you would choose?
First one, I'm like you as well. It's the most blatant one, which is gonna be Cody Rhodes. So even though if he does win it, I don't think it's going to be as special as they could have done it on Mania. I really hope they don't do this Rocky storyline. I don't think they're going to do that because I don't think many people can stand another year with Roman Reigns at the helm. But Cody Rhodes. Second one would I was gonna say Jay, but now I'm stuck between Jay or Solo. Solo, especially given the segments and even the Hollywood movie promo thing they did, the thing where he actually leant forward and said like, I find you funny, tribal chief, or whatever he said. That ain't part of the movie. So that clearly they're planting some kind of seed there for some possible feud down the line between them two. He could very well, like you said, he's won most of Roman Reigns' matches, especially the major ones. Helped him win him, and so he is obviously knows Reigns' weaknesses and whatnot. So yeah, he could be could be a good candidate, but so could Jay. Jay is also could be up there. He's one that could definitely topple Reigns. And my third one, I'm surprised you ain't said this, but I think one person that should definitely have one more shot at it and probably topple him, Drew McIntyre, if he actually stays. I feel like besides Cody, he was the one that had probably the most closest. I don't think Sami Zayn or Kevin Owens were the closest. I think he was probably the most dangerous one so far.
And who saved Roman with that? Your boy debuting and you dropped your title belt like an idiot. Solo Sikoa saved him.
Yeah, it's kind of weird me saying that, but I think it's proved his worth.
Remember, Mr. Chaos here was in the hype package because he was showing there remember us every single day. I swear to God, when we were at WrestleMania, he was muttering in his sleep.
Oh, I do forget you were at the Clash of the Castle promo pack. That is sick, to be fair. But I mean, I do like you. I like what you guys have said about this. The fact of the matter is, it's very difficult to take and it gets more difficult by the week to decide who should take the title off of Roman. Cody, as weeks go by, to be honest, the more and more I'm thinking it probably should have been him at Mania. I know I said it should have been him at the time, but I said at least it's interesting. There's more they can do with it, whatever. But I really don't know. Chaos, I know you're dreading the him holding it for another year. I honestly don't see them taking the title off Roman before Mania. Maybe SummerSlam, but they need a good storyline from it, and they've not started it yet. Unless it is Solo Sikoa, in which case I guess it wouldn't need much build. But then it comes back to similar to Braun Breaker. I know Solo is probably, to be honest, Solo is known by more people now, which is weird to say, because of course a lot of the casual fan base don't watch NXT or anything like that. So they probably don't know who Braun Breaker is, but still, is Solo Sikoa too, new? Is he not known by enough people to be the world champion yet? But we'll have to just wait and find out. But I do think there's quite a few options, but at the end of the day, pretty much every option is going to be hard to pull off at this point. But let's get into the final question of the day. And that is from Damian Beach 81 on Instagram, who is asking, who from the main roster would benefit the most by being drafted to NXT? And this is quite a good question. And while I let Chaos and Soul think of who they're going to say, the one which came to my mind when I just read this question out is actually a bit of a controversial one, I guess, but Mansoor, because the maximum male models thing, it's been a bit entertaining at times, I guess, or whatever, but he was actually impressing me. He was developing really fast. I was actually quite enjoying some of his matches, but he was just I think he had like 2 matches in NXT or something. He was never really given a fair shot there. I'd love to see him there without the gimmick, just drop the gimmick, have something else, a new gimmick. because I truly do believe that he could do decent. And of course, he could draw crowds internationally very, very well in Saudi Arabia for WWE and be, true homegrown star. So I think that honestly, he could do more than this maximum male model stuff, and sending him to NXT could give him the opportunity to do this. But what about you, Sol? Who would you send down to NXT to build them back up again?
Well, I got two actually, a male and a female, because I'm cheeky like that. I'm the MVP. I get 2 picks. Female, I'm going to go with Aaliyah.
Oh, okay.
I think
She's injured.
She was also in NXT for like 7 years.
Yeah, and she does. And who is she on the main roster? Still needs time to build up.
The person that has the fastest pin in SmackDown history. Just saying.
Oh, cool, nice. Male, I'm gonna go. Male, I think I'm gonna go with someone who is in NXT, but I think his main roster thing is very iffy. Karrion Kross.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I think like Karrion Kross, I really enjoy. I think he's got a cool look. He's got a cool moveset. He looks like a killer Kross. Hey. But the big title picture is just so dominant right now. He's not going to beat Gunther, who's Gunther. He's not going to beat Roman, who's Roman. Is he going to beat Austin Theory, who's? I mean, he's Austin Theory. He's annoying. I can't say his things right now because we're going to be putting this on radio. But he's something. He's something. But I just think NXT may be a bit more free flowing for him.
Yeah, no, I do understand that completely. And that is certainly one to keep an eye on. I mean, Aaliyah, I can be honest, I completely forgot about that Aaliyah push. But Chaos, I'll send it to you quickly. Who would you send down to NXT to build them back up again?
Well, I'm gonna be just cheeky as well, because screw it, I'm black. Anyway,
whoa.
I can say that it was not that bad. So that's fine. No, I'm gonna do 2. First one that's definitely spinning the wheels. On Raw, Mustafa Ali. I feel like he is just lost in the winds right now, and he's just being fed to people for no reason. And yeah, I think that yes, he's definitely needs some rehabilitation, especially after the retribution stuff. I feel like he's still hurt from that stuff. And then second of all, I had it on the tip of my tongue and I've completely lost it. It was Mustafa Ali and Cedric. Cedric
nice.
Alexander, 100%. He's a stuck on main event, and he deserves more. The guy is so talented. He was great in the Hurt Business. And yeah, I feel like he's definitely been wasted there. This whole thing with Shelton and the fact we know that Hurt Business ain't going to be coming back. I feel like he's definitely needs to go back to NXT and create some bangers.
Fair. I mean, Cedric Alexander, of course, during that Cruiserweight Classic, he
amazing.
Was so over as well. Not only was he amazing, but he was over as well. Of course, Triple H came out and handed him the contract at the end of it. It was such a cool moment.
I wanted to realize one quick second here. Wasn't Hurt Business coming back? Like MVP was in segments, like interviewing people or something like that. And like
kind of did, and then it kind of didn't.
And everyone was like, "Oh my god, Hurt Business 2.0," and then he was like, "Almost."
Yep.
Well, basically, they were doing something going into the Lesnar story at Mania. I not Lesnar story. What am I saying? The
Lashley.
The Lashley storyline with Bray. I think there was maybe a plan there or something. I don't really know. They were doing something where they were blatantly teasing it, and almost also between that's right, Omos and Lesnar at WrestleMania. But then I don't really know what happened, to be honest with you. I think they just didn't really know what to do. But I do agree with you. So that was bad booking. But that pretty much brings today's show to an end, guys. Thank you for joining me, Soul and Chaos. And thank you to everybody who will listen to this show. It really helps us out. We really appreciate you listening. We're here every single day. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a like, leave a subscribe, and drop down a comment. We really appreciate it. If you're watching on Spotify, please give us 5 stars. And I think you can like podcasts on Spotify as well. If you're listening anywhere else, thank you guys for following us. Head to WrestlingRepublic.com for all your opinion, news, reviews, and more. We've got it all there at Wrestling Republic on Instagram. Also, check out Chaos's latest episode of Take It to the Table, which dropped on the YouTube channel yesterday as well, where they
Without me, why?
They
Why
tear
without me?
the ruthless aggression. When's the next Soul session, Sol? Coming soon. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications on the Wrestling Public YouTube channel, and you'll be able to see when the next Soul session is, because there will be one coming very soon, and you can watch all of the ones so far.
Give us 6 stars. We're in the Tokyo Dome.
6 stars. Give us 6 stars.
Give us 6 stars.
Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.